finally, obligers. Obligers resist, they respond readily to outer expectations, but they have a lot of trouble meeting their own internal expectations. Like a friend of mine who said, you know, when I was on the track team in high school, I never missed a track practice, but I can't make myself go running on the weekends myself. That's an obliger. Obligers are motivated by external accountability. They wake up in the morning and say, what do I have to do today? They don't like being blamed. They don't like letting people down. They like to meet external obligations, but they have a very, very, very tough time holding themselves accountable. And so the key for obligers is to create those systems of external accountability, whether you're working with an obliger or you're an obliger yourself. Now, the thing about obligers is, like, these people, obligers are the rock. These are the people that show up. These are the people who come through. These are the people who volunteer when no one else is volunteering. So they will deliver for others. Obligers themselves are the ones that, for the most part, bear the negative consequences of being an obliger. They say things like, I'm a people pleaser and I don't like it. Or, why is it that I can always make time for other people's priorities, but I can never make time for the things that are important to me? The secret is external accountability. There have to be those systems in place, or they just don't deliver. Like a friend of mine who was like, oh, for years I wanted to take yoga, you know, I never did. Finally I signed up for a yoga class. I went one time, it was the $600 yoga class. You know, and I could have told her, I was like, you're an obliger. You had to create some kind of system of external accountability. Like, go with a friend who's going to be really annoyed if you don't show up. Or, you know, go to an instructor who's going to hound you by email if you don't show up. You know, go to a class where they charge you triple if you're a no-show. Like, create systems of external accountability, and that will help. And again, when trying to make habits and break bad habits, obligers need to think of ways to get that sense of external accountability. And some people are super creative with it. For instance, I know somebody who wanted to take piano. And she said, well, I knew I would never practice piano, so I signed up with my children, and they'll know if I don't practice. So she had to do it because of her obligation as a role model. Or I know a guy who was taking photography, and he said, well, I knew I would never do it. I would never stick to it. So I decided that every semester I would sign up for one class at the International Center of Photography. And he said, and I did that for several semesters, and I was taking tons of pictures, and I loved it. And so finally I said, oh my gosh, I totally know what I'm doing. I love doing it. I don't need to bother taking a class. Guess how many photographs I've taken since I stopped taking a class? 1. Like, the systems of external accountability are super, super important.